Hey
Hey guys.
guys. Hello. I am so excited and dare I say even a little anxious to have the Father
Uh-oh.
Logan Parish here on the mic with us
Woohoo.
once
Applause
again, you guys.
button.
I am so thrilled. My dear friend, Father Logan has been on the podcast with us a few times now, and every time it just feels like this big treat that I get to look forward to at the end of a work day where I know I'm going home to record a podcast with Father Logan. And he asked us a question right as I pressed record and I cut him off. So we are giggling our way into this episode, but it has just already been a delight for us to chat with him and get to just update each other on life and be friends. So Father Logan, welcome to the Daily Nothing
Thank you,
Welcome.
Court.
podcast once again.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you,
Big
Father
thumbs
Logan,
up.
for being here.
Oh my gosh, we're so thrilled. Yeah, I just am so excited, you guys. We're going to be getting into Lent, specifically the topic that everyone is talking about, the name that people can't get out of their mouths. I am just excited to dive into what we could actually prepare for and really, I don't know. I just am in this place where I want Lent to really be transformational. Like last Lent, I really had this like true conversion where my prayer and my life, if you go back and listen to the episodes around Lent, it was just like wow, like I am encountering the Lord. And I think that knowing that that is something that is on the horizon and something that I get to enter into again and be reminded of that I want in my everyday is making Lent very exciting this year.
Yeah.
I'm like really looking forward to it. Even in the most recent post that I shared on Becoming Courtney, I'm like talking about how we can prepare well for Lent. And I've got the eye of the tiger in the background, the audio in the background. I'm like, let's freaking go. I'm
Let's
doing the
go.
Michael Phelps like arm flaps where I'm just like absolutely warming up. You guys know what I'm
Yes.
talking about, like the butterfly where he like flaps his arms on the back and he's just like flying and he looks like an adult male butterfly. And yeah, I'm just like, that's kind of how I'm feeling going into Lent this year. Like, let's absolutely shred this thing. Let's go into the desert. Strip me, God. I'm just like excited to do it. That could change. Like, give me a week or two into the desert, and I'm going to be like, Lord, where's my Evian chilled bottle of water? I thought we talked about this. Why didn't you pack it? But nonetheless, I'm just excited. I've been praying on my own. I'm excited to have a conversation amongst friends, and I just think it's going to be good. So, yeah, I'm just pumped. Megan, how are you feeling coming into this Lent conversation?
Yeah, I am very much looking forward to it. I know we've talked to Father Logan about Lent before, but that's the cool thing about our faith in the Lord is that it is ever new, ever changing, ever growing. And it's like we'll never go into a year of Lent the same. And the conversations and things we bring to it will be different every year. And I think that's why we can have another conversation that's going to be so different than the last Lenten conversation we had.
Totally.
And I'm just really looking forward to that. And a funny thing, I've been like, for the last few weeks, I'm like, I just need Lent so bad. I cannot wait for Lent. I need social media off my phone. I need more quiet. I need more this. I need Lent. And it kind of hit me that I'm like, okay, I could just delete social media off my phone right now. Like, I don't necessarily have to wait for Lent. So I did. And
Oh,
my life
praise
has been a little quieter and
God.
better. But
Look at
it
that.
is so funny that I think we get that way sometimes. We're just like, I'm gonna have to wait till the starting line. Like I can't I was
Right.
like, I literally, if this is good for my soul, I could just do it now. So
Yeah,
I feel like I've
absolutely.
like slowly been getting towards Lent and I haven't just been like full send party mode and then we're hitting it. It's like, no, we're kind of easing into it. And I just know how badly my soul needs this and how much I do long for this shift in my heart to be more contemplative, a little more quiet, some better boundaries with technology, more order in my life. And Lent really provides a space for that. So I'm really looking forward to that. I need it. And I'm already feeling the good effects. And usually I feel like the past few years I am terrified for Lent. I'm like, no, no,
Ooh,
no. Like, do not take away the noise. I need
mm,
the noise. I need the
yeah,
constant noise. Like, don't you dare take that from me. I am scared for what you're going to ask of me. I really don't have that coming into this Lent, which is different, and I like it.
Praise
So
God.
I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Father
I'm
Logan?
loving it. Yeah, Father Logan, how are you feeling
Always
coming into
good.
this
I
combo?
think Lent is this preeminent opportunity for us Christians to sort of reorder our lives. What I'll tell my people is it's like the New Year's resolution part, the sequel, but with Jesus. So like I think it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's a sort of a redemption arc for those New Year's resolutions, at least regarding my spiritual life. So I, I get
totally.
excited, I get hopeful,
Yeah,
and and try to hold on to it and get back up again over and over. So yeah, I hope this is helpful for others too.
Totally.
definitely.
It also kind of like Lent starts a lot earlier this year, right? Am I
Didn't it
right or am
start
I
Just
just kind
around,
Valentine's
of
Day
yeah,
last
it
year?
can, yeah,
One of the
delusional?
recent years,
sure,
it
sure,
was
sure, yeah,
Valentine's, like the 14th. And I was like, come on.
yeah, a
That
few
was
years back,
years
yeah.
ago,
Come on.
Megan. Come on. That was years ago
Oh, I guess
because
it,
I
it
remember
affected me.
I was still going on dates with my high school boyfriend. It was in the thick of college, don't get me wrong, okay? But I
Oh my
remember
gosh,
that was
really? Are you sure it didn't happen when we were missionaries? I picture myself in Oshkosh on
maybe
Valentine's
it
Day
happened
at
again.
Ash Wednesday.
Valentine's Day was
Maybe
just a
I'm
complete
wrong.
illusion at that time in my life.
Didn't
But
matter,
I
maybe. Yeah,
regardless, let's take the
regardless.
Valentines. We're getting the
Yeah,
candy
sorry.
hearts out of there. Regardless of that day, I just kind of feel like it's actually the start of the new year with it being February 18th. Like it feels like this
Es-
is really going to be my time. And maybe that's
Especially
because
for you, Courtney.
exactly a moment for me to just put my baby
Please,
violin to
please.
work. January, what does she get?
Yeah,
She gets influenza. Okay. She comes back because she's
horribly.
amazing. And
Yeah,
then what happens last week, those on Patreon already know stomach flu. Stomach flu. I mean, it was
it
definitely
could have been
bad.
sad.
Stomach
Yeah,
flu for 36 hours roughly. I mean,
yeah,
absolutely
unbelievable.
disgraceful.
It was it like
Okay.
February 1st. Like it was kind of like, all right, we're
It was
restarting February.
February freaking 1st. It was
I
literally
was so
February
sad for
1.
you. Yeah,
Megan just was like, I cannot believe that this is happening. And then, of course, after the stomach flu, you're just kind of like, you're out of commission. For even if you're feeling better, you go to
you're
eat
not all the way
something,
there. Yeah,
your stomach's a speck of dust. You're trying your best to eat, and it's just so difficult. And so
yeah,
I just feel like it's been so far the year of the Lord reminding me that I cannot and will not be self-reliant and that he wants me to fully rely on
yeah,
him.
yeah,
Um, and that my plans are just my plans, but his plan always trumps it. And so I'm just excited to like, I don't know, get into it with my love. Like I'm excited to start the year off February 18th, no time like New Year's Day to really kick it into gear.
I
And
agree.
I don't know, I'm just looking forward to it. It just feels like a true fresh start. So, um, yeah, maybe I'm crazy for thinking it's early, but I'm like, even Easter feels early this year because
Yeah. I feel
it's
like
April 5th, right?
my like radar is my birthday's February 23rd, and
Yeah,
sometimes Lent hasn't started, but there's a lot of times that my birthday falls in Lent and I'm
and it's the
always
thick of
like,
it. Yeah,
this is not cute. This is not fair.
totally,
It's my birthday. I
totally,
don't even care that much, but I don't want to fast on my birthday. You know what I mean?
totally,
So,
totally.
been
Imagine me
there.
having a Lenten birthday.
Oh my gosh, the Lord knew you were not
The
allowed
Lord
to have a
knew.
February birthday. You would, oh, no, no,
Or
no.
March or April. Like
I
there's just
literally no,
no
oh my
way.
gosh, no. I think you would have like reconsidered the whole like being Catholic thing. Like I think it would have been like you're like, well, I will definitely not be doing Lent because my birthday month. Like that's the whole Lent. The whole
Oh my
birthday.
The birthday
Lent's only
god.
season,
40
yeah,
days.
Celebration.
Like your
yeah.
birthday month is the whole
Yeah.
30.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
legitimately.
Other
Man,
Logan
it's
really
not
gets
it's
it.
not just an octave
Yeah,
for
he
Courtney.
does.
Man,
No,
I think we
yeah,
celebrated
it's good.
no. I remember we celebrated my birthday once, Father Logan, in like March, and you bought me Krispy Kremes, and you were
Well,
like, "It's for your birthday."
No, I remember hearing that.
I mean,
Funniest
it's the
thing I've
first
ever
time I
heard in my
think I saw
life.
you since your
He
birthday,
gets
so it was
it.
only fair.
That's what it was. You were like, "We have to celebrate your birthday. Let's get Krispy Kremes on me." I was like,
Gosh.
Okay.
He knows how to just love you well. That is like the best. It's like you didn't forget. It's still my
No,
birthday. It's
never
always my
ever
birthday.
could. Never ever
Oh
could.
my gosh, that's so funny.
Okay, so shifting from celebratory discussion into the desert that we've come here to discuss.
Hmm.
How about we just start from the very, very beginning? Let's go to the ballet basics. And once again, what is Lent? Like, what is the point of it? Why do Catholics do it? It's this phenomenon that's even become a little pop culture-y in like Chick-fil-A has a limited edition fish sandwich available at only some locations. And there's like all of these different fish commercials that
Hmm.
happen in the marketing
Displays
world
in grocery
because,
stores.
yeah, and it's
Yes.
like with spring comes Lent, comes spring cleaning, and like our illusion of what this liturgical sacred season is might not even intentionally be slightly skewed on our parts because of the way that the world advertises this season. And so, what is the fundamental and theological truth behind Lent
Hmm,
and why we do it?
I love that. Thank you. So if you're going way back, simply put, Lent was meant to be these weeks of preparation and penance for those who are going to be baptized and received into the church. It actually was at different points in the year, but the church really ended up settling on Lent leading into Easter. I think there's actually sources that say that Advent was sort of the OG Lent, and then later on it was more connected to Easter
Whoa,
with, yeah. But so be it. I mean, two penitential seasons.
Interesting.
It's interesting. But
totally.
but it's very much
Sure.
connected with preparation for the Lord's resurrection and preparation for entering into his life, especially for those who are not in his life yet. So those receiving the sacraments. And so it was really, I mean, firstly, there were other little chunks of fasting and penance during the year for Christians at different points in church history, but really it was for the catechumens and those who were preparing for baptism. And then the rest of the church eventually kind of jumped on the boat with them and started fasting with them, I guess. So that's a very sort of simplified history of Lent. Uh, but yeah,
I've never heard
some
that though.
helpful
That's
roots.
really good.
Uh,
No,
Yeah.
me either.
but
That's so cool.
but
Wow.
then the obvious
Yeah.
sort of 40 days tied to uh, a number of sort of scriptural stories, but most especially Jesus in the desert. And I was leading a holy hour with my people, and we'll do sort of guided lectio once a month together. And I had never really done sort of that peripheral reading of Jesus in the desert, and I just yeah, I kind of sat with them in this sort of the image of like going out into the desert with Jesus right after he's received that sort of special anointing from the Spirit, those words spoken over him by his Father, and he just goes into the desert, certainly to do battle with the devil. That's where, the enemies in the wilderness. But like for 40 days, what's he up to? And it seems like he's just praying and fasting. He's just remaining with his Father, being emptied out and then filled up. Really, I think setting a model for us on how to be transformed. But praying with Jesus in that image of like every day. I don't know if he's scavenging for basic things. I don't know, grasshoppers and uh, s- uh, I don't know, I don't
Yeah.
know, plants. I don't know what he's eating, if he's eating much at all. Uh, but uh, but then the
Yeah.
silence and the time under the stars. That was the image that really stuck with me. Is like sleeping with Jesus under the stars. Uh, and so, but we're both hungry and we're both with the Father. Um, and then but 40 days can feel so long, uh, especially when you're hungry. So, yeah, I think Lent always has to bring us right back to the desert with Jesus, sort of sleeping under the stars with Jesus, hungry but alone with him. Yeah.
I love that image so
Wow.
much of sleeping under the stars with him because that actually reminds me of last Lent when was I can't believe it was last Lent, but last Lent was when The Chosen did the whole um like movie release
Mm,
once a week up until the Last
That's
Supper.
right.
Do you remember this? And
Yes.
I was force fed by my best friend McLean the entire concept of The Chosen because I just frankly didn't care. And then all she wanted for her birthday was to go to the premiere. And once a birthday's involved,
Can't
Too
I'm going
stop
to
extravagant.
her.
Yeah.
commit. It's all in or nothing.
Absolutely.
And so I had this luxury of staying in Spearfish with her for 2 full weeks because I was there for my godson's first birthday. And then I
Oh,
was there for McLean's golden birthday. And we went and saw the first like premiere that The Chosen did. And I was obsessed. And it's all I talked about on
yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah.
And there was this one in particular, I think it might have been the finale, where Alexine and I went together. And it seriously, like, it changed my brain chemistry. Like, my prayer was so just, I mean, the intimacy was off the charts. It was amazing. And after we watched that episode, if you want, or it was basically a movie, but episode that
Yeah.
they had released in theaters, Alexine and I bundled up in clothes and coats and all of the layers. And we went out on my back porch and we stared at the stars and sobbed and just contemplated Christ for at least an hour. I mean, we were freezing, but there was just this like, I don't know, it's something about the way that the Lord created the galaxy that just makes you remember how little you are. And it was just so lovely. I mean, it was one of my favorite moments in Lent. And our roommate Lizzie had gotten home and she like came out and we were sobbing outside on our bench, staring at the stars, tears going into the ears, you know what I mean? And it was just beautiful. And I don't know, that image of going into the desert with Jesus and the stars still being there. The desert seems like this miserably dry beige place, you know? And there's still stars and they're still probably pretty vivid. And that just seems like a delight in the midst of the suffering that is kind of cool to think of.
Probably more
Um,
vivid, right?
as we prep. Way more. I mean, there's nothing else. Yeah. That's just romantic. And anything romantic with Jesus, ticket for two.
Sign her up.
Me and him. Swipe my card. Wow. Okay, that's lovely. That's a really good reminder of
We really just want to
Yeah.
enter into the desert to be emptied
Yeah.
out and filled up, to really to leave the desert transformed, right? That's what Jesus, he leaves the desert and
mhm.
begins, he continues his mission. He really begins his mission in the desert. Uh, I think that's a great image for us. We need to actually enter into the desert before we can be sent out.
It's funny. My parish priest came to my Bible study last week and we asked him to talk about being a wife and mother and how to enter into Lent as a wife and mother. And my priest was very heavily involved in starting Exodus 90. So
Yeah, I forgot
we're
about that.
all we're all shaking in our boots before our priest comes and we're just like, what is he going to tell us to do? Because if you don't know
Totally.
Exodus 90, it's this very, very intense fasting and praying time for 90 days leading up to Easter typically. And you have to take cold showers and you sometimes just eat water and bread and you don't watch TV and you only listen to sacred music and there's lots of other things. So we are like, oh no, what is he about to tell us to do? And I kind of started the conversation. I was like, listen, I go into Lent sometimes and I'm like, I am literally already not doing anything I want to do most of the time. Like, I'm already suffering a lot as a wife and mother in a lot of ways. And there's these really difficult hardships. And yeah, like, or, my friend, she's already given up dairy because her baby cannot process dairy and she's breastfeeding. She's like, we're already like giving it all. So the thought of going into Lent and having to do more, it's like, well, I'm literally already, like, it's scary. Like, and I was like, what would you, like, how should we approach it in our vocations? And he said something interesting. He's like, okay, he's like, you guys are wives and mothers, you're not monks. And he's like, you are not called to pray 24 hours a day. You are called to, like, your vocation is very specific. he just kind of like softened it. He like acknowledged what we're doing in giving life and all the things that we do up in the middle of the night and all the things. And he was just kind of like, "What do you like to eat? Okay, just don't eat that for Lent. There's your fasting." He's like, "Praying, you just kind of need to pray more." He's like, "Maybe not 24 hours, but maybe 24 minutes, or maybe it's just 24 seconds. And you say a simple prayer that you weren't saying before." Like, he just made it, or it's like almsgiving. You don't have to be heroic about it. If someone needs a hat down the street, go give them a hat. Like, it was so shocking because, like I said, for like this guy is like the king of fasting. And he, I was just like, oh, especially I think as like ex-focused missionaries, it's intense. Like, you
Yeah,
are you go into Lent knowing there's no way you're doing enough, no matter how much you're doing, no matter how many things you've given up, no matter how much you're praying, whatever. Like,
yeah,
it never feels like enough. And it was an interesting mindset shift for me to approach Lent and been like, I could just pick one thing and do it really well. It doesn't have to be. I mean, Courtney, we've both been like a list
totally,
of at least 10 things that we are doing for Lent because that's what we
totally,
have to do.
totally,
It's like maybe while we were missionaries that made more sense. Like, Exodus 90 was made for seminarians, and it's like their vocation. Like, the stages make sense. And I feel like we put on this thing of like, I'm going to be as heroic as those people, and I'm going to give up just as much as those people.
yeah,
Um, but the thought that like God might not be calling all of us to that, depending on what we're doing already, it was very interesting and something I need to continue to contemplate. But I was surprised that those are the words that came out of his mouth. I
totally,
don't know. Father Logan, do you
totally.
have any thoughts about that? And
Oh
you
no,
can
he seems very
contradict my
wise,
priest
very
if you
wise.
want. He'll be
No, I
fine.
mean
He'll
honestly,
be fine.
as you speak of
I'll be
motherhood
okay.
or some of marriage, it seems like a Lenten lifetime. I just
No, I know.
no,
I
I don't
hate to
know.
make
Yeah,
it sound like
it,
that. I'm in the thick of it,
and
you
it's
guys.
yeah.
I really
Sometimes
am.
it can be hard to see the stars amid sort of I don't know the amid the sort of so to speak hunger, the suffering, right? But I think
Yeah.
if I would maybe just add, what was coming to mind was what if Megan's motherhood actually became an offering instead of a complaint? And that's not how it comes off, but like,
No, no, no. This is
no,
genuinely,
it's
this is
great,
where
it's
I
great.
wanted the
But like,
conversation to go, truly. So
what
please
if
dive in.
um, my the ordinary tasks that I'm especially uh, most tempted to dread or complain about, what if they became occasions for love and places like, what if those places those are actually like those are the real moments of the desert for me, like I feel the scorching of the sun, so to speak, like just getting into that image. um what if
Yeah,
it was like, instead I look toward the sun and I say, for you, Jesus, like, for love of you, like, yeah, I'm always inspired by, I think it's Blessed Chiara Badano, when she was losing her beautiful hair during chemo. With every sort of lock that came out, before she put it in the trash, she would say, "For you, Jesus." Um, and so before, like, the sort of the scorching of the sun in the desert, the pains and the trials of each vocation, the ones that we might even have as much legitimacy to whine about, what if they became sort of these opportunities to say, like Kiara, "For you, Jesus," right? And so, what is sort of the
Yeah,
normal
I
trials
love
of my
that.
life that I can actually make into an offering? How can I be alone with Jesus in the desert? Because maybe I've been in the desert for a long time and just kind of been whining about how hot it is and the scorching of the sun, and now He's inviting me to actually to walk with Him instead of just be upset. Uh, that would probably be my only addition.
Yeah. Well, I think it's even funny to be like alone with Jesus in the desert. It's like, oh no, I'm never alone. I'm
Ah,
there's always a
Always,
whining
always.
child in my ear. Like, I can't go sit and look at the stars because Ellie just woke up and I have to go get her. Like, like
Yeah.
that's how it
Yeah.
feels. I'm just like these like romantic moments of like uh it's hard to make the space sometimes, and like, you know, sometimes we have a good week and it's like, oh, there's lots of space for quiet moments and to be with the Lord. And but it really like has been this maneuvering of like, how do I have these small encounters with Jesus in between the chaos and the spilled milk and the not going down for the nap I thought they were going to go down for, and now I have actually zero time to myself today. And like there is this like, yeah, it's the desert is, it just looks so different. And yeah, it's almost like this different image of the desert. It's kind of like I'm not alone with Jesus in the desert. It's like this, I don't even know the
It's
words
like you're
to
pushing
say.
the
It's
stroller through
like
the desert, and he's just like, "Hey, can I walk with you?" Like, is that? Yeah,
yeah.
you've been gone for a while, so
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go alone.
Yeah.
No, that's really good.
Good. Okay.
Mm.
Good.
So good. I also love being a mom, you guys.
We know
I
it. We
really
know it.
sometimes make it sound so. I really, I love my children so much. It is just a transitional time. I know I've been a mom for, you know, almost 4 years now, but it is a transitional time still of just like figuring out what your
Yeah,
relationship
for
with
sure.
Christ looks like when you are a 100% a like caretaker for someone, and then two people.
Really, three people,
You
right?
know,
Jake,
it really is.
Jesus
It's
is
like,
three.
how
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
you have, well, yes, and
No,
my
I was gonna
sweet
say it's
husband.
3.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I take care of Jake too. And
No, totally. It's
yeah,
the way that it
but no, it
is.
is. It's kind of like, how do
Yeah.
you, and it's like it's just like once you finally figure something out, the season
Sure.
changes, and then you're like, oh, they used to be able to sit in the stroller and I could pray a rosary, but now they just scream at me the whole time they're in the stroller. Like, we have to shift
Right.
again. And um sorry. Yeah. I just wanted to call that. I do
We
love
know.
being a
We know.
mom, but it is this conversation of like, how do you be a mom and try to enter into
Totally.
Lent when you
Totally.
can't go alone, kind of thing. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I have so many thoughts. It's so interesting because I I just think that, the Lord, he is so patient and smiley, and I'm just like having a moment like listening to both of you speak because I just like really feel like the Lord is he's so excited for Lent with me, and um yeah, it's like we always have what we don't want. Like I'm listening to you talk about all of these frustrations with being married and having kids, and even like the hurt of fasting, not fasting, motherhood, like what that all is looking like. And all I hear is a nagging voice of Satan saying, must be nice, Like, you've got kids, you've got a husband, and I'm here again, single, with no prospects. And I think it brings such a beautiful dichotomy to our podcast, Megan. And
Yeah.
it's like, then you see my life, and you're over here like, Courtney, you get to go look at the stars
And
with
cry.
God, and I've got a freak fracking stroller, and I'm gonna have to get a second stroller, and it's just too much, And I'm like, I would love to buy a stroller, Megan.
Yeah.
Shush, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know so many friends of mine too that they hear moms talk about these things and they're like, enough, and it's like, I would
Yeah.
love that. And then moms are like, shut
Just you.
up. You're
Yeah.
hosting a Galentine's Day cafe and clothing swap for 45 women this weekend. How fun for you, Like, it's
Yeah.
just so interesting, especially, I mean, I don't know the masculine heart that well, but the feminine heart, it's just always in this comparison. And
Yeah.
I just, the whole time you were talking, I'm sitting on my happy brown velvet couch, and I just had this image of Jesus just sitting here with me and just like smiling so big, like, I know what you're thinking,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just, yeah, it's just so beautiful how patient he is with our imperfections and our hearts, um, where our hearts naturally draw, and just what he just knows it so well. I feel like, yeah, I'm just having this moment in real time with him. But yeah, it's just, of course, Satan wants to divide and he wants us to compare, even as we're prepping for this time, even in
Yeah,
the
or
conversations of it
especially
all.
when we're prepping for this time,
You know,
probably. Yeah.
totally. When we're packing for the desert, it's just so classic Satan, once
Yeah.
again, same old tricks. Yeah. So I just wanted to call that out because I feel like there's such a natural comparison
Well, yeah, and
on
I'm
both
sure
sides of the coin,
so many women
even
who are
with
single
listeners.
are like, "Shut
Yeah.
up, Megan. We're sick and tired of hearing you,
But then
hearing
I
your
think
woes
about
of motherhood."
babysitting. I think about babysitting and I'm like, get me the beep out of
Yeah.
here. I've been here for
Yeah.
4 hours and I'm like, you strong warrior of a woman. Have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Correct.
go home now,
And sleep all night.
and
Yeah.
sleep all night. I've got to get up early for
Yeah.
the gym. I'm so brave.
So brave. So brave.
It's so funny.
So brave. So brave.
It's just
Yes.
it's
It's
so
just
funny to
so
think
different.
about.
You just don't,
Yeah.
yeah. You just don't. It's
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
different.
Totally. The Lord is
Yeah.
is
No,
there
and
through
I
it
think
all.
and I think that priest, your
Absolutely.
pastor
Yeah.
was hitting on a really wise point. It's Francis de Sales. He's the one who makes the really uh, a clear point that the will of God regarding one's prayer, fasting, and almsgiving is not going to be the same for the priest as for the married man. For this is a single man with a good job, nor vice versa with a woman, right? Each vocation the Lord actually calls. That's why it's called a vocation. He calls us differently toward the love of God and love of neighbor. So it's really in our discernment with the Lord, always asking Jesus, Jesus, how are you calling me to pray, to be with you? How are you calling me to fast, to be emptied out with you?
Yeah.
How are you calling me to give alms, to love my neighbor with you? I like the specificity of vocation, depending on um, what state of life. It is actually, I think, really wise from your pastor.
Yeah.
Mm,
No, I
that's so
really
good.
I really did appreciate it because I was like, yeah, I've never thought of it like that. And there does need to be a shift. I mean, you kind of think about it, and this is something I was talking to Father Logan and Courtney about earlier. Is kind of like, okay, when you're pregnant, you're not called to the same standards. And when you're breastfeeding, you're not called to the same standards because you're pouring out in a different way and you don't need to fast and stuff. And a tender moment that I've been contemplating is, and I'm sure if you have experienced a miscarriage, you might be thinking the same thing. And for the past, I think 4 Lents, I haven't had to fast or abstain from meat during Ash Wednesday or Good Friday or on Fridays or whatever. And I fully listen to the church on that. I know there's lots of pregnant women, breastfeeding women who are like, no, I'm still doing the fasting. I'm still doing the things. And if the Lord's calling you to that, great. I say, I'm like, the church says we're good. I'm good here. I'm doing enough. It's fine. So when I got pregnant, I was like, oh, look it. I just made it another round. Cause I was like, maybe this will be like the Ash Wednesday that I end up having to fast because I'm not pregnant yet. I was breastfeeding last year, whatever. And I was like, oh, no, I did it again. We just got there. And then obviously I had my miscarriage. And as Ash Wednesday is approaching, I'm like, oh gosh, I have to actually fast this year for the first time. Um, and it's been triggering. It's made me angry. It's made me upset. It's made me confused. It's brought up all these feelings of like, why am I being punished for losing my baby? Like, there's all these very kind of like not crazy thoughts, um, just feelings that I was not anticipating as I'm approaching Ash Wednesday. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, Father Logan? It's
Yeah,
okay
yeah,
if you
no,
don't. It's very specific, and it's only going to probably affect a few listeners here, but it is. It's just been a tender place for me, and I don't usually have very many tender
no, no.
places. I'll be honest.
I think
It's
there's
different
actually
for
some really
me.
helpful principles that I think all of us can take for fasting, maybe from this answer. I remember this is a strange parallel, but so again, avoid the comparison. But in a similar sense, I remember maybe the Lent before I was ordained. I was with my pastor for spring break or something, and he was giving us some wisdom, and he said, I've got some. There are some priests who will take Lent, um, to the nth degree, maybe like your priest, and fast very intensely. Uh, but he mentioned, at least in my experience, he said, for us priests, we're doing, you know, uh, exponentially more confessions and sitting there, often sort of skipping meals. And then when you get to Holy Week, you're preaching almost every day of the week, of like more intentionally and preparing in ways that you normally don't. Um, and like the preparations with all of those who are coming into the church, the confessions you're hearing. He actually had this proposal for fasting. He said, uh, for us, I don't think it's a matter of simply eating less. He said, eat what you need. And I thought that was so helpful. So, because he said, so often, like, we're going to have these confession marathons. We're going to this high school or this parish, and we're trying to be helpful to the people of
Yeah.
God, but then we just are dead and we have nothing to give them. And he said, I don't know if that's the will of God for us, at least as diocesan priests who are pouring out in parishes during Lent specifically. Again, not to compare at all here, but to see some sort of similarity.
Right.
And he said, what I
Totally.
do is I
Yeah.
avoid, I think he phrased, art, artificial carbohydrates, and so essentially most and all sweet, any and all sweets, and I just make sure I get my sort of veggies, protein, and dairy, and I actually eat little bits throughout the day, and it just seems so ordered and disciplined, eating not just what I want, but really what I need. And it was I think, an approach that doesn't
Mm.
see fasting as a punishment for the Christian. No, because Jesus, I should mention,
Yeah.
why do we fast? It's
Yeah.
actually a really good question. Um, because it was a
Yeah.
normal Jewish practice to fast, to deny our body, so that um, we can actually sort of um, yeah, reorder our lives, discipline sort of our disordered um, desires. So if you say no in a little way,
Mm.
whether it's giving up dessert or meat, you can say no in the bigger ways. It's sort of like spiritual exercising. So exercising for the soul. So um, so when Jesus is approached by when Jesus first, he's on uh, the mountain giving his sort of Sermon on the Mount. This is sort of laying out his vision, like sort of his Moses moment. And he says, um, you know, we'll hear this on Ash Wednesday. He says, when you give alms, dot, 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 when you pray, dot, 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 when you fast, dot, dot, dot. And he gives specific instructions on each of these. But notice this sort of key word before each of those verbs, when, not if, right? And so this is the expectation of Jesus for his followers, because he knows these are going to be tasks that transform us to be more like him, actually to become disciples. And so that when you fast is really essential here. And then I would add in one other scripture verse, especially for any listeners who are thinking like, Father, like, I know he says this, but why? But why? Um, I know I think it really does do something for the soul. It actually changes us. And so when the Pharisees, they pick on Jesus's followers, they say, why did the followers of John the Baptist and we fast, but your disciples don't fast? And he actually gives a time frame for them. He says, uh, you know, when the friends of the bridegroom, they do not fast as long as they're with the bridegroom, in preparation for the wedding. But when the bridegroom is taken away from them, then they will fast. And so Lent is a sort of entering into the bridegroom is being taken away from us. It's lead up into Good Friday. And then after Good Friday, we're not going to fast anymore. Easter Sunday, the bridegroom is back with us. Especially Easter season, we don't fast, right? So when the bridegroom is back with us. But there's this sort of like little suffering in this fallen world. so as to reorder and transform our lives and be united to Jesus on the cross. When the bridegroom is taken away from us, then we will fast. And so this Lent is sort of this being drawn toward Calvary and being drawn to surrender our bridegroom, uh, only to be reunited with him on Easter Day. So I would keep in mind for those listeners who are like, fasting brings up this or that sort of trauma response. That's okay. I would take that wisdom of the pastor who said, um, all right, you know, especially during Lent, be attentive to what you need, not to what you want. You could probably still deny yourself, sweets and alcohol pretty easily without actually hurting, harming your body in any way.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. Thank you.
That is so good. I feel like that's a great like practical segue into just like an overall um overarching question of how you can discern what you should give up for Lent, or just like any of the
Yeah.
practicals that you would want to dive into, Father Logan, on just things that people could take into this Lent to really make it a transformative season. Because it can so easily, like, I even find myself comparing myself to past Lents of what
Totally.
I've done in the past, what worked, what didn't, the years that felt really special, and wanting to replicate that feeling and like do whatever it takes to replicate that feeling. And then before you know it, you're losing that intimacy and that personal invitation with the Lord and the consistency of intimacy after Ash Wednesday. I think that Ash Wednesday can feel like this fun ceremonial kickoff that we all kind of enjoy in suffering together. It's like fun and
Yeah.
easy and social in a way of, this is what everyone else is doing and I want to be with the in crowd. And then the next day it gets kind of real. And then the first Friday we would probably lose a lot of people to Chick-fil-A that day, and it's just kind of a, exactly, may God be with them. But it's there's just so many ways to go about it. So any and all wisdom that you'd like to share, or direction
Yeah.
that you want to kind of take
So
the
the Christian life,
conversation.
especially during Lent, is not sort of a performance or an act for Jesus. Like we're not just trying to put on a show for him, to like really prove like, see, I'm worth loving, or like, see, I'm good enough. Now you can love me. Like he already loves us. He already wants to be with us. Uh, so I think Lent is, Ash Wednesday should be this start day of like, I realize how terribly enslaved I am to these material things. Most especially food. Like I'm just so like hangry. I get so hangry by, like not, I don't know, by not snacking. Like I'm just like, why can't I have it? So there's just this sort of deep rebellion in us, um, that doesn't want to have to ever deny itself. But what does Jesus say? In order to follow him, you must deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. And is there any better description of Lent, right? Deny myself, take up my cross, and follow him. Where? To Calvary. All right. So, uh, sort of renouncing any sort of lie that Lent is my time to prove myself to God, throwing that out the window, then going before him and asking, Jesus,
Mm.
what's holding me back from you? Um, Lent should be this season of suffering and intimacy, not suffering for the sake of suffering, but suffering insofar as I am terribly attached, terribly weak and desperate for the world, and not for him. And so Lent is a season of suffering for those who are horribly attached, namely myself, and a season of intimacy. And so, really, our questions when it comes to prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, especially the latter two, um, those are going to be the places of suffering. With fasting and almsgiving, I'm going to have to take a hard look at myself with Jesus and be like, where are the places in my heart where I'm horribly attached, um, and really disordered? And that's not to have any sort of self-hatred, but it's supposed to be sort of an honesty before the Lord. And so like I tend to get pretty pretty uh, decisive for myself. I'm like, all right, I have so many attachments. I'm just gonna get rid of all of them. I don't recommend that for most, but like a lot of a few of my priest buddies, I'll say, they'll always give up alcohol just because, that's a pretty normal thing. We've got other priest buddies who will give up meats and treats, especially Wednesdays and Fridays. So seeing Wednesday as this other day of sort of penance during the week, um, because that's the day of the Lord's betrayal. And and then others who will just give up desserts during Lent. All right, pretty chill. It's then when you start getting to the Exodus 90 domain that it can start to seem intense to some. But I think us guys need it because we're so attached to sort of physical comforts. So whether it's the cold showers, sleeping with our pillow, or some will sleep on the ground, or some will give up meat all Lent or bread and water fast on Friday. You get really intense there. And again, as long as you
Yeah.
discern this with Jesus, like, all right, that's chill. I do think there should be some sort of bodily element. Like it's important not just to fast from social media, but also to fast from like some sort of whether it's I'll say to people practically, like what if it's cream in my coffee? What if it's salt and pepper? Um, what if it's things that people won't notice that only the Lord will notice? Like when I fast, can I do it in secret? And my Father who sees in secret will see me and reward me for it. So I would first, if you're wondering and discerning, like, how is Jesus calling me to fast? I would bring it before him and bring your real heart before him and say, like, Lord, these are the specific places I'm terribly attached. What should I do about it? And if he's asking you to get rid of some app, then do that. If he's asking you
Mhm.
to sort of lock up your liquor cabinet, then do that. Um, what is required for your freedom this Lent, um, so that you can actually be with him, be closer to him, and more, yeah, yeah. Actually love as he loves. That's a starting point.
Yeah. Mhm. I love that so much. Oh my gosh, Megan, go ahead. You're getting
Okay,
me excited.
I know. This is so good. And one thing I've been thinking about is like, okay, if I take away the one thing, how practically do I replace that thing with Jesus instead of just something else? It's like the classic, like, I'm gonna give up Diet Coke because I love it, but I'm just gonna start drinking Diet Pepsi instead. Like you
Yeah,
can just
yeah,
like, but it doesn't
What a
count
penance.
because
yeah.
it's not Diet Coke. You know what I
That's
mean? It's
true.
kind of like how
No, no, I
that's
get
like
you.
an extreme
No, that's true.
example, but there's even the other. It's like, okay, I'm gonna give up podcasts instead. I'm not saying that's what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but if I gave
Yeah.
up podcasts and then okay, I just filled all that silence with music instead, or like audiobooks instead. And it's like, okay, maybe it's better for me, but it's still distracting. And I think that, yeah, like how do you enter like when it comes down to it, okay, let's say, okay, I'm not replacing it with something else. I'm very uncomfortable in the silence, or like I'm not going to eat the dessert. My body wants me to lunge at the fridge and get the dessert. Like I need it.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do I do in that
It
moment?
is a
Like
need. It is a need.
maybe you guys don't feel that way about dessert, but sometimes I'm like I need the airhead. Nothing's gonna stop me. I'm eating
The
that airhead right
specificity
now. You guys
is
know how I
impressive.
am about airheads
Okay.
right now.
Your airheads. The
Yeah.
airheads. I'm
So I don't know.
dying.
I think it's just
That's
like that.
so
How
good.
do you actually suffer well and not just
Yeah.
replace it with something else?
I
Like, how
mean,
do you actually
you
go to
tell
the
me.
heart of
I mean, no,
Jesus with that? Because it feels
you're
really
you're the
hard.
master of suffering.
I
You're
don't,
the
yeah.
mom here. Come
You're
on.
the priest. You tell me.
The lifetime of Lent. That is no, no. That's great. I'm sure motherhood's great though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last Lent, um, some of my staff we were inspired to propose a series during Easter called our Abundant Life series, and the real proposal of it was like Christ
Mhm.
didn't come just to get rid of sin, like that was a part of it, like he died for our sins, all right, no, but he came to give us life and life in abundance. I came that you might have life, life, life. Okay, so like take that deep breath of like wow, like he actually wants me to be more fully alive. He actually wants my joy, my peace, like it's going to come with the cross too, but like the resurrection is my destiny, and it should be my present too. Like I should be able to live that now, but not, not without the cross. So like again, when he promises the hundredfold to his disciples, he says, "For all of you who give up uh, lands and lands and riches and X, Y, and Z, all this for me, I will give you a hundredfold in this life and in the life to come." He says in this life, and then he has this addendum with persecutions. And so okay. So, like, Jesus has come to give us abundant life, the hundredfold
Mm,
with persecutions. So keep that in mind always. We're not naive. Um, but this sort of abundant life series, our proposal was sort of like, w- what are the ways that we can waste time productively, and productively as sort of in a way that produces, quite literally, instead of consumes. So, what are the habits where I'm just
mm.
consuming? I'm like a little factory of, or sorry, like it's the best word for, yeah, yeah,
Producing?
sorry.
I
Oh,
like the
that's
factory
okay.
word, but
All right.
I don't know
So,
if that's where you're going.
where, what are ways that I can produce instead of just consume? And so, we had each of these little Saturday morning classes where we had an artist come in and talk about and teach us some basics on charcoal drawing, really cheap, easy to get into. Another class on making your own pizza dough. Uh, uh, but the best class was the sourdough making. Obviously, people really love bread, I guess. So I had no idea that was such a movement. I mean,
Yeah.
if like yeah, if Jesus would have just taught
Oh, it
sourdough
is.
classes, he would have had so many more disciples. Oh my
Been
God.
there.
That, that was
Yeah.
really beautiful. But like
Yeah.
like
That's
I
so
have
fun.
one staff member who I pushed her hard about like giving up TikTok, and she was like, "I think I will die," and I was like, "But could you try?" So all right, with persecutions, okay. So she did, and I was so proud of her for it. But you know what? She had to do something with that time. She didn't realize how much time it was taking, and so she took up sourdough, and she's incredible. Now she's like teaching classes and selling her own sourdough. But like
Oh my
that
gosh.
wasn't there a year ago. Like
That's
she's a
cool.
different woman because
Oh
of
my
our
gosh.
transformative Lent and giving up one thing that was taking life. Maybe not an obvious evil, maybe it was, but and then finding a way not just to finding a way not to consume, but actually to sort of produce life, to give something, which is I mean literally productive, like in the
Yeah.
spiritual sense. So that's sort of just the
Yeah.
beginnings, or sort of some foundational tr principles on um, I'm not going to survive without it, and if I don't have it, what do I do with it with that time? Um, I would first say probably all right, these are probably places that you were coping by consuming. How can we sort of cope by sort of producing or bringing forth things that give life? How could we, foster opportunities for hospitality? Like, what if I open my home to, you know, uh, people or started baking things or started making things or did crafts with my kids? I know it's more energy, it demands more energy, obviously, or else we would all be doing these things. Uh,
Yeah.
but we'll actually have more energy
Yeah.
in some ways because you're not burning it on these sort of low reward activities. Um, And so, how can I sort of cope with my time or spend my free time by producing instead of consuming? And how can I be sort of this giver of life instead of this sort of taker of life constantly? Uh, so I would get creative. The last little note there, silence is a worthy filler of our time too. And so if the car has to be quiet,
Mm.
or my run has to be quiet, uh, that's okay. That's okay.
Mm. Well
It's
said. That's so
crazy
good.
how completely and totally terrifying silence has become. Like it used to be something that I would consider for Lent, and now it's like no way. Like it is so crazy how scary silence is to me. I get physically uncomfortable. I get kind of nauseous. It's like it is wild to me to think about how much of a restless heart I have at the thought of it, and I feel like it just continues to grow more and more every single year, and I just think that I don't know if anyone else is with me that's
Oh my
listening to that, but like this this fearful, like daunting, like or you could be silent, like it is
Mm.
spooky to me, and it just is something that I definitely need to pray with because um
I mean, the
yeah, it
noise is
shouldn't be that
nice.
way,
I just don't
you
know if
know?
No.
It's a
we
beautiful
can hear the Lord.
thing.
But yeah,
Yeah. It's like that's what people crave. People crave peace and what? Quiet. When I say peace, you say quiet. Like that is a vibe that we've had for generations. And now
Yeah.
here I am, like I'll just take the peace and I'll take the quiet on the side as an option.
Yeah.
Like if I have to, you know? Like it's
Yeah.
just so interesting that we're so
Yeah.
afraid of this as a society. I mean, I just really don't feel
Oh
like
my
I'm alone.
gosh.
It's just wild to
No, it's
contemplate.
so real. And maybe
Yeah.
even as I'm thinking about silence in my own life, which is also scary, even just like moments of silence. Like I get in the car, I don't turn anything on
Sure,
for the
sure.
first 3 minutes. Like even
Yeah,
if it's just
yeah,
3 minutes of
Right.
silence. What if we
Right.
baby step our way into silence? Because it is
Right.
like a with all these things, even like with sweets, it's like you will have
yeah,
withdrawal
yeah.
symptoms when you stop eating
Mhm.
sugar. It's
Right.
it is physically uncomfortable, and I think silence is even like, or you're not scrolling anymore. Like you delete Instagram, then how many times do you just like open your phone and you're like, oh wait, there's nothing to
And
do,
your
and you put
thumb
it back down.
goes to the
No,
spot
you
that you
like
know where it is.
it's you have to like
Gosh.
withdraw from it. Like I it's a, and it, to do a slow withdrawal, I
Sure.
think is okay
Yeah,
too,
sure.
or even just I don't know, because yeah,
Whatever
I'm
Jesus
with you.
tells
So
you, you
drip.
Yeah,
should do that.
I get it.
So
Amen.
drip. Wow. Okay, well, I am like nowhere near done with this conversation, but I know we're getting close to time. Father,
Yeah,
what like yeah, if you were to sit down with me and say, "Okay, Courtney, these are fundamentals that you need to bring to the Lord." Like I know that you're never ever gonna I'm never gonna be able to call you and say, "Okay, Father, what should I do for Lent this year?" And you're gonna tell me and I'm gonna do it. That's not how we roll,
right,
okay?
right.
It's up to the Lord. And there's lots for me to still pray through. But I think that it's helpful, especially from a priest, to get some kind of parameters. I always think of things in pillars because I work in social media. So we have brand pillars, and you have them so that you can ping pong off of them and stay within the lane and stay within the boundary of where you're trying to go and grow. So if you were to give us Lenten pillars, that it's like you got to have this, you got to try to find something here, you got to look in this direction, like what would that be? Because we always hear prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, but even maybe a little bit of a deeper insight of like consider these things when you're entering into Lent, whether that be confession, whether that be parish activities, like whatever, anything that you're like, I think that really trying to aim for this would be a good call.
Yeah, maybe that first pillar is I, what seems to really be ringing still, not making Lent a performance. So, so you don't have anything to prove. I, so start
I
there.
love that.
Jesus, I know I don't have anything to prove. I'm just here for you. I'm just, entering into these spiritual exercises quite literally. My soul is, taking up serious exercise, uh, for you, Jesus. And so, with that freedom of mind, then I would, then I would sort of ask him maybe these questions. Jesus, how are you inviting me to spend time with you? Jesus, how are you inviting me to make a good confession? Jesus, how are you inviting me to suffer with you? And Jesus, how are you inviting me to love differently or to love creatively this Lent? That would be the almsgiving and works of mercy. So let's start with sort of how are you inviting me to pray? Um, for those who don't pray, which is a lot more people than I think we realize, like if every Catholic just prayed 10 minutes a day, wow, the kingdom would already be here. I, for those who don't pray and don't know how to pray, I would just find some space and some scripture and just be with him. Work through, one chapter of the gospel at a time or the daily gospel at a time. For those who already pray, I would invite you to at least, if you're already praying 10 minutes a day, I would invite you to put more scripture, silence, and speaking to him as a friend. And so it's essentially the same aspects, but trying to either increase the time or increase the sort of sincerity or substance. Yeah. You will never be wronged by silence, nor by scripture. Um, okay. Uh, okay. And then for those who are already like praying your holy hours a day, the focus missionaries out there and the disciples, I would make sure that you still take that first principle in mind. Um, am I doing this because I'm trying to prove something to God or someone else? All right, then I would drop it. It's not helping your soul, it's hurting it. So if your Lent is sort of a,
Yeah.
a, ta a list of things to
Love that.
prove that you can do it, then you're just in the desert by yourself. Like you're not going to find
Mm.
Jesus if you're running to the desert by yourself. Um, like, uh, yeah, yeah. Like he's always going to be behind you. So whatever. Okay. So anyway,
Yeah.
I would just be attentive that so for those who are already praying pretty intensely already, uh, be really attentive to sort of your own ego getting in the way of the intimacy with Jesus. Does that make sense? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
Totally.
that first question, like
110%.
Jesus, how do you want
Yeah.
me to pray this? All right. So the second question then, Jesus, how are you inviting me to make a good confession? This just focus on three things, and it's a good confession. All right. What am I trying to? What am I tempted to hide from Jesus? What's the thing that I'm going to try to phrase in a way so that it doesn't sound so bad? Say that thing. Probably start with that.
Yeah.
The second one is
Yeah.
what's the habit
Yeah.
that I most need to break, like the bad or sinful habit that I most need to break? It might not be mortal, but like what's the uh, what's the habit that I most need to break? Okay. So what am I tempted to hide from? What am I, what am I most habitually struggling with? And then what am I most seriously doing wrong? I factor into one of the first two, but not always. What do I know is most seriously wrong? Maybe it's especially about my past, um, or like a relationship that like I'm gossiping about this person, and I just need to stop. I need to actually repent. So, what am I tempted to hide? What is sort of habitually really harming me and myself and others? And then what do I know to be most seriously wrong? If you can confess those three things, like uh, everything else is just icing on the cake. Uh, that that would make a good confession. That would be transformative in the desert.
mm.
Uh,
Totally.
does that make
Yes,
Totally.
well said.
um,
Absolutely. Wow.
and then Jesus, how are you inviting me to suffer? So has two parts regarding both the fasting and the almsgiving. But how are you inviting me to suffer with you? Um, I would probably focus in on the place I'm most attached, where I know there's most disorder in my soul. Um, and then uh, if that's not as obvious, then identify the places where there's a lesser attachment. And then, if like your priest said to you, Megan, like, what's something you really like? All right, then don't have that thing. We don't have to overcomplicate. But if something immediately comes to mind, probably not do that. Uh, and if you need to sort of do baby steps into that, okay. But I wouldn't be too soft. There's some that like it's actually going to be like really tough. There's others of us that just don't like discomfort. Um, like Jesus said, deny yourself, take up your cross, follow me. All right. Can I just Can I just actually swallow the pill? Okay. Uh, I remember one of my preschoolers, we were working through how they were going to pray and what they were going to give up. And the preschooler was like, all right, I'm going to give up chocolate chip cookies. And it was like there were about four different things. Like he realized that if he said one thing, it covered like a lot of things he'd have to give up. Then if he made it more narrow, and he was like, well, what if he made it super narrow so that he could still even have like other cookies and other chocolates and other even chocolate chips on the side.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But man,
Yes.
he was
So
thinking of
yes.
everything. I mean, as he
Yeah,
enunciated it as 4-year-old.
yeah.
Totally.
So like,
That's so
Totally.
let's
funny.
not be soft,
Well,
Oh, that's excellent.
but let's not be performative either. Like,
Yeah.
what can I be honest before the Lord in the desert?
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
he's looking at it in my hands. He saw me bring this thing in the
Right.
desert. He's like, really, really, Dad? Like, am I
Yeah.
not enough?
Yep. Yeah.
So like, all right, yeah, that thing. Yeah, and I was, if there's any women with male significant others, or if there's any other guys that listen, other than I would just say, you need to do bodily fasting, and it's just got to be a normal thing. So if you are not familiar with that, like, I just don't know how any man could like make it through the spiritual life without any sort of denial of himself. I just don't know the feminine heart, so I'll just speak to that part of the masculine heart. Okay.
I love it.
Um,
Yeah. That's great.
does that make sense regarding fasting, suffering through fasting? All
It's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
right.
like
Okay. The
such a great
last
roadmap.
sort of addendum to that stuff. How do you want me to suffer? And maybe this isn't as much stuff. Jesus, how are you calling me to love you in my neighbor? And like, there's so much creativity, but I think inertia just gets the best of us. I do not want to look over. I don't want to overlook almsgiving and works of mercy. Like, there are a few things that transform our heart, like almsgiving, works of mercy. Like, yeah, I mean, there's one passage from the Old Testament that even says almsgiving actually leads to forgiveness of sins. Like, there's like intense, like love of neighbor.
Wow.
Like, yeah. Uh, anyway, it makes sense. It makes sense. It just does. It just does. And so, like, so this weekend in our bulletin, we're listing off, many options for prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, such works of mercy. But as a parish, we just do regular works of mercy. It's something I'm really proud of us. So whether it's serving lunch at the food shelter twice a month, the homeless shelter, excuse me, uh, or each month we'll sort of change off the theme. But you know, December was caroling at our at on two nursing homes. That was lovely. We can get really creative, and maybe there's a group that really moves your heart. Maybe it's sort of uh, moms who need meals, or someone who needs babysitting, or maybe you can offer to someone like, hey, you guys need a date night. I can cover it. Like, we can get really creative, but if there's something that moves your heart, go there. It will actually might just break through the inertia.
Yeah.
I just worry that we overlook works of mercy and almsgiving for the other sort of spiritual exercises of fasting and prayer, and we actually are missing out on some of the most important transformation.
I agree.
Um, so Jesus, how are you calling me to suffer, not just through fasting, but actually by giving of myself in ways that might be uncomfortable? I might have to be with strangers, but it turns out that I was a stranger and you welcomed me. That's actually how I might just meet the Lord and be transformed. So how are you calling me to love you, especially through my neighbor? Those would be sort of my four questions. How are you calling me to pray, to confess, and really to suffer through fasting, breaking my attachments, and then through loving my.
Wow.
Wow. I love it.
I
That's so
literally
good.
just want to go to the chapel. Like right now
I want to go
I
figure
just
it
want to
out.
have, yeah,
The
that's it.
conversation, Jesus. Like, let's do this.
Totally. I just
Yeah.
want to get into it with him, and um there's just like so much excitement. I think that that's why we as humans and so many people that aren't even Catholic are so attracted to the idea of Lent, because it seems like, what if this could actually change my life? You always have that thought. What if this is actually the pivotal moment that changes everything? And we all, Catholics and non Catholics alike, have that itch for something more. And I think that everyone hears about this concept of Lent and they're like, well, what if I tried? What if that's the secret to all of this? And I don't know. I just think it's beautiful, how the church has created this liturgical schedule, and the opportunity for us to be able to bring these questions to the Lord and just say, what do you want to do? What needs to change? How can we keep pursuing glorification? And how can we keep pursuing my destiny of being with you for eternity? Because it is a constant pursuit. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to be with him and figure it out, even as you're saying all these things, different ideas or different curiosities are popping up in my head of, oh, I could do that, or I could do that. And if you're listening to this and you're in a similar place, maybe just pause, like go back, listen to what Father Logan said, write down the question, think through it, like chew on it with the Lord a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And don't let that fleeting thought of, oh, I could do that, just be a fleeting thought. Like take it
Yeah.
to the Lord and be like, okay, this came up. What do you think about that? Was I distracted? Was I daydreaming? Or was that you? And what would you like to say? And how would you like to invite me into blank? Um, it's just exciting. It's just really exciting. And we need this as Christians. So I'm
Yeah.
just thrilled. Truly.
Me too. Me too. I'm like, okay, there could be some pain points here. We might have some tough conversations, the Lord and I, mostly him to me, but it's going to be good for my soul. And
Like,
that's what it's all about.
what if he pushed the
Mm-hmm.
stroller in the desert, Meghan?
Oh, what? Oh,
What a chivalrous
please. Oh
man,
my gosh. My
you know?
friend and I were on a walk this morning and she did push my stroller for a while.
Prophetic.
Maybe that's the image I needed. Yep.
Come on.
How did you
Come on.
know? How did you know?
Mm, that's great.
Well, Father Logan, thank you so, so, so much for coming. Courtney and I all week, genuinely, like we cannot wait. we
I'm like,
we are
thank
never this
God I have
excited
that
for Daily
Tuesday.
Nothing's recording. So
Seriously.
truly, thank you.
So
Thank you
true.
for getting us on track and
Yeah,
for being such a good spiritual father to us and to our listeners. So
truly.
yeah,
Truly, truly. I
happy
have one
happy Lent. Oh, please,
I have
Courtney.
one final question for you, Father Logan. As an audience listening to this, what are some just like really practical ways and prayers that we can pray for our priests as we go into Lent? Because you are like giving, 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 giving. You're Mr.
Yes,
Giving. And I just like, even if it's just, I mean, I know that that's kind of a big ask, but when people are like, Courtney, how can I support you? I'm ready to go. I'm
Let
like,
me
well,
tell
let me
you.
tell you, you know? And so even if it's just like, yeah, we can pray rosaries for our priests or anything, like if there's anything that you appreciate as a priest that we could adopt to our parishes,
I love
um,
that question.
and just support our priests better. Like it's just a really pop-in season.
Sure,
It's my
sure.
final thing.
Well,
My final thing.
I
Love
don't think
it.
anyone ever asked us that. So, no, I mean, Megan, your kids never ask you like, "Mom, what do you need?" Right? That's not, yeah. But
Yeah,
no, I mean,
very
yeah,
true.
it works out great. I would say maybe just two things. Don't be afraid to give that affirmation, especially when the priest does or says something well. You can always give the correction, like, but that's most of our, yeah. Anyway, but uh, most of my,
Yeah,
yeah, a lot workload is often sort of just the things that go wrong, right? But so I get
Right.
almost very rarely does anyone ever say anything about my preaching. It's generally good if it comes, and I have a few people that I check in with to make sure, like, am I just like, is it that? I don't know if it's really bad. You just gotta tell me, guys. But they just don't. I don't know. They don't see. That's okay. That's not their job. Mom and dad don't look for the thank you. That's you just this is what you do. But
yeah,
so whether it's the
yeah.
preaching or the word in the confessional or like, I really like how we do this thing at church or this event that went really well. Um, that went really well for this specific reason. So be specific about an affirmation. That can mean the world. Or send one of those emails. Those sort of are a joyful surprise. But the latter thing,
Love that.
Yeah.
which might surprise you, is I don't know, when you see when a parent sees those light bulb moments in their kid's face, or they hear how their kid succeeded, and they're just like, "Oh, praise God! It's actually like they're actually it actually took. Like I'm just not a failure." Uh, uh, most of at least priesthood, it seems like it's just a lot of surrender of the fruit because you'll never really get to see most of it because we'll be transferred, soon enough from place to place. Um, but the rare moment when someone in the confessional says, I've been, I started coming to confession, or I started praying every day, or started doing what that thing that you said, or I took this from a homily, and like my whole life's different, or like my family's different, or like I'm not the man or the woman I was before, and it's like wow, like, you get that every few months, and it's like, all right, I think we
Yeah.
Yeah.
can keep going. It's just like that one breath of air, you know, when you're under it all.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway,
So
affirm the good and then share the good. Like, what's the good that's happened in their own life? Maybe because of the work in the prayer.
Uh,
totally. Wow, that's
so
It's
such
a
a
little
good.
too long.
shepherd's answer. I love it.
It is. It's so good. No,
No,
it's
never
so
too long.
it's
Keep
so real. It's funny. I
rambling.
feel like it's so similar probably to just ministry
Yeah,
in
right.
general. Like I was like, "Oh, I feel some of those things just in
Yes.
different ministry work I do or even the daily nothings." It's like
Yeah.
not many people tell us what they thought about an episode.
Right?
We just
Right.
see the download numbers and we're like, "Okay, this many people listen to it." Maybe one person sent us a message, a few people sent us a message like, "Hey, that was really good." But we like don't ever we're just like, "We're just going to keep going, I
This is what.
guess." Like
Yeah.
I don't really know if you're
All right.
liking
So
this or
that's the.
not. So when
All
he
right.
said that, I was like, okay, I
Okay. So
honestly
that's the call
relate.
out to the
Yeah.
dailies for some affirmation or some honest correction, guys. If this is bad, or ladies, if this is bad, you just got to tell them. All right,
Yeah.
and they'll stop, please. But
Tell
if you
it.
don't tell them,
Yeah.
they're just going to keep putting these things out there. All right, please, you got to say something.
They
We're
Oh
just gonna
no.
keep going.
some,
Genuinely. Genuinely. And
someone say
we
something.
will not go on Reddit. I I refuse to ever
I
search our names on
refuse.
Reddit. We will
I
not. So if you're just
refuse.
trash talking us there, I don't see it. So
No, and I never will. I
I never
never
will.
will.
So
Oh, that is so excellent. Wow. Okay,
yeah. But anyways,
that's super inspiring. I
that
can
is a
just like
really
picture doing that at my parish right now with my Spanish
yes.
priests, all of them. They're so
Oh.
lovely. They're
Yes.
so lovely. And
Yes.
not they're like Spanish,
Yes.
like they're from Spain. They went off about this coffee social and they were like, "We are going to have good espresso, okay?" Like going on and on and on
Yes,
about the
I love
coffee.
that.
I'm like, "You don't ever have good espresso at a parish hall. Like that's just
Yeah.
I
not
mean,
gonna
no one goes to
happen."
Coffee and Donuts expecting
Who needs to
sacrifice. Yeah.
donate the machine? Yeah.
No, exactly, exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
So anyway, thank you for that. Thank you for that encouragement. But wow,
definitely.
thank you so,
Thank
so
you.
much, Father Logan. I'm just like so fueled and amped and ready to pray and bring this to the Lord.
Uh,
So just thank you
well,
so much.
the three of us at least will need to debrief Lent together after it's
Good
over.
Lord.
I feel like
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
we don't. Maybe it'll be a Patreon episode. We debrief our Lent or something because I feel like we
Yeah.
always go into Lent and it's like, okay, this is what we're hoping for, and then Easter comes and I feel like
Sure.
there's never a like. So how did that
Really?
actually go? I feel like I
Yeah.
never actually like
Yeah.
reconsider like
Shoot,
did that actually do
accountability.
anything? So
Megan, what an idea.
Oh,
that
What
would
an
be a fun
idea.
conversation.
I love it. So much fun.
Scary. Another
I
As
love
scary
long
it.
as it's
thing
on
to
the
say,
Patreon, all right?
but
I don't want to tell the whole
okay.
world,
Okay.
all right?
Well,
Exactly.
yeah,
We need a paywall, please, for the love.
some things need the paywall.
Somebody give me a paywall. Wow. Okay. Well, we
Okay.
clearly just
Okay.
want to keep hanging out.
I know. I don't want to stop. I need to go to bed. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for
Yes.
listening, you guys. Send this to your friends. Let's all have a very prayerful, fruitful Lent and just invite the Lord into it. So send it to your friends and ask a friend to join you in all of your Lenten
Yeah.
practices, saints come in
I love
twos.
it.
So do it with a friend.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, you guys.
Okay.
Well, thank you
Happy
again, Father
Lent.
Logan. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye.